Alrighty ho folks, good evening and welcome back once again to some F1 Manager. Hello King Lemon, welcome. Welcome indeed. Oh, I'm spiffing. Absolutely spiffing. Actually debated, I'm actually in a good mood today. Not that I'm not usually in a good mood, but I'm in a better mood than usual today. Because tomorrow I'm off on my travels. I'm off to Nottingham for a managers meeting on Wednesday, but I'm staying overnight. We're off to watch ice hockey. I've never seen ice hockey before in my entire life, so that'll be good fun. I'm taking a hip flask of rum with me to keep me warm. So, you know, bit of excitement there, bit of something different, hitting the road. So that's quite cool. And then before we know it, it'll be Friday, because I'm back on Thursday. No, I'm back on Wednesday actually. So then there'll be Thursday and Friday. But it'll soon be Friday, it's fine. Anyway, I've also had quite a bit of an interesting day at work today because I had two conversations with two members of staff, which was basically me saying, if you don't book your ideas up, I'm going to put you on a performance improvement plan. Which is never a fun conversation to have, but you know, it is. Hence why I was tempted to have a drink this evening, because it's been one of those kind of days, you know. But anyway, I'm here instead with nothing to drink. I didn't even top up my squash because I'm ill prepared. But anyway, welcome everybody. Now, before we dive in to the game itself, Pips, performance improvement plan. Yeah, I had to give the word of warning. Basically, you've got 4 weeks to book your ideas up. Otherwise, it's there shall be trouble. But yeah. Anyway, I have to open today's stream with a tinge of bad news, I'm afraid. So now that you're all filtering in, Pete, Joker Jake, welcome to you both. Ollie, as usual, welcome. Cham, good evening as well too. I'm going to have to open with some sad news, I'm afraid. So bear with me. This is quite sad. I've literally just read online now, just literally 3 minutes ago, that Coca-Cola have officially axed Lilt. So sad news. It's sad. It's very sad. I mean, I haven't drunk Lilt for a long time, but all I can remember is those Jamaican ladies in that Lilt advert, the totally tropical taste. And I have had Lilt in my time. It was quite tasty before they removed all the sugar due to the sugar tax. It was quite a tasty drink. But no more shall Lilt ever be, apparently, because Coca-Cola are axing it. So if you do like Lilt, I advise you now, go out into the supermarkets quickly and stockpile it before they stop producing it. Because before much longer, it shall be a thing of the past. Alright? So there you go. Sad news, but I'm doing my bit for you all in allowing you to stockpile it should you wish to. I've not drunk Lilt probably for about 5 years. But I'm tempted to go out and buy a load just for one last hurrah. Because when I was young, I used to love it. Yeah. Like, remember Ribena? Remember an Iron Brew when the sugar tax hit? People were stockpiling the full sugar versions of those drinks because they knew that obviously after a certain time it was just going to be this sugar, lower sugar variety, which clearly doesn't taste as good when you like the sugar in it. So people were stockpiling it and were putting it on eBay. Bottles of Ribena for like 20 quid. How dare you, King Lemon? That is absolutely heresy. Next you'll be telling me you don't like Vimto. Good lord, man. Yeah, exactly. I have always said it, that Rubicon, Mango, the juice version in the carton have the right idea. Because they do the regular Rubicon, which is the Rubicon with the reduced sugar, which I think has to be below 4.9 grams per 100 mils. But then they also do what they now brand as a Rubicon Deluxe version, which is the old highly sugared recipe like it used to be before the sugar tax, but it just costs more money because you've got to pay the sugar tax on it. So therefore you've got a choice. You can buy the regular version, which is now reduced sugar, or you can buy the old school version for a bit more, and you've got that option. So if I was to ever buy the Rubicon, I'd go for the Rubicon Deluxe, which has got the full sugar in it. So I think it should be the same with other soft drinks as well. You can have the crappy Ribena with the reduced sugar to save you calories, but if you drink Ribena as part of a calorie controlled diet and you're not going to drink it by the bucket load and put on a load of weight and have all your teeth rotten out, then you spend an extra 50p or whatever and you can have the old school version because I'd pay for it. But no, just have us all suffer the consequences. Anyway, sorry, it's another sugar tax round. I have them every sort of 3 months or so. It's just because I can't drink all the old drinks that I used to like. Fanta Fruit Twist tastes like crap. Ribena, no. You know, all these old drinks that I used to have that have had all the sugar removed taste awful now. So literally the only soft drink other than squash that I drink nowadays is Coke, because Coke is full sugar. You just pay a bit more money because you pay for the sugar tax. So, and I happily do that because I like sugar in my drinks because I've got a sweet tooth. But anyway, never heard of Lilt? It's probably not a thing. Maybe it's just a thing over here, I don't know. Anybody else heard of Lilt? Any Americans out there heard of Lilt? There was an absolute... I might put it on the... or somebody link it onto the Discord server. There's a really... The Lilt 90s adverts with the West Indian, I think they're Jamaican, ladies, totally tropical taste, the little jingle, and it was so great. Early 90s, mid 90s maybe, the little advert, it was classic. And Lilt used to be really nice before they took the sugar out of it, and I've never had it since. But anyway. Right, okay, so that's today's preamble over in 8 minutes. We now get to we'll get to the game, shall we? Yeah, why not? Because I've got some stuff to do to prepare for my trip to Nottingham tomorrow, so I've got to finish the stream a little bit early, which naturally it will finish early because it's only one race. But it's pineapple. Was it just a pineapple flavour, or did it come with? I think it was pineapple and grapefruit. I think it was pineapple and grapefruit flavour mixed. But honestly, Nagisa, it was back in its heyday. Was pretty delicious. Pretty delicious. You don't hear it quite so much anymore. Another drink you don't hear so much of anymore, compared to how you used to drink it by the bucket load, well, at least I did, Tizer. Who remembers Tizer? Tizer used to be quite popular. Again, sort of 90s. My dad used to love Tizer. Ice cold Tizer. Just kind of fluorescent-y, reddy, orange kind of drink that tasted of something. Again, in its heyday, delicious. Again, remove all the E numbers from it and all the sugar, tastes like crap. Cherryade. Don't see so much Cherryade nowadays, do you? Anyway, the list goes on. Anyway, it's the British Grand Prix, folks. It's the British Grand Prix. I've done the practice. I've done Q1. I've done Q2. We have our rear wing now attached. We've got a brand new rear wing. It's our very first rear wing, so it doesn't benefit from massive expertise bonuses. But it's an upgrade. Panda Pops. I remember Panda Pops as well. Yeah. Cherryade. Dandelion and Burdock. Another staple of the chip shop. Cream soda, another staple of the chip shop. All of those drinks went down a charm. Oof, delicious. Absolutely delicious. Stop it, you're making me hungry. I could have my dinner. My dinner's ready, but I've said, I don't want my dinner till 8 o'clock because I want to play some games first. Anyway, so we'll get to some of the F1 team management stuff after the race, because we'll have a bit of time and I'll take you through the development plan for the car going forward from now. But as currently we stand, we have a new front wing, we have a new floor, we have a new rear wing, and the game's new chassis that it gave us right at the start, which really is a bit crappy. But so we have a car that's got some upgrades. Now our car, when it comes to its cornering, is 5th and 7th on the grid. Now, considering it's based on there's 20 cars, that puts us in the top 3 to 4 teams when it comes to our downforce, which is what we've been focusing on. We've been focusing all of our development on making sure our downforce is as good as it can be. Our top speed, however, is 15th and 17th, or 15th and 16th, or something like that, because we've not been focusing on that just yet. So a little bit down on the top speed, but cornering, we're A+, pretty much. We're getting there. And that's even without our second renditions of, or the third renditions, our second intensely developed floor, rear wing and front wing. Because when they land, poof, look out everybody else, I tell you. But anyway, we were in Q3, and the reason why I've joined at Q3 is because it's Britain, it's England, it's Silverstone. I did mention it in the last session that, you know, there will probably be rain. It could be the height of summer in this country, and you can't plan for anything because it could be the middle of July and you think, I'll have a barbecue next weekend. It's fine, it'll be lovely weather, and it absolutely hammers it down because it's just the way things work here. So lo and behold, there's rain predicted for the race. Thought there might be. And there's rain predicted today, which covers practice session 3 and the qualifying sessions. So there was a little bit of rain in Q1. There was no rain in Q2. There may be some rain in Q3. I don't know. So we're going to find out together. And then we've got a race with rain in it too. So definitely some shenanigans, which means that there's definitely a chance for us to, I don't know, get on the podium again if we time it right. Ooh, could it be our third podium in succession? We shall find out. But anyway, we are going out on slightly used softs for our first Q3 run to get a banker lap in, and then we'll use the second, a new set of softs for our second flying lap. We're saving a set of softs brand new for the race, only because it's a bit 50-50 as to whether it's going to be a 2-stop or a 1-stop. It's quite 50-50, so I'm keeping a set of softs aside in case we switch in the race on the fly to a 2-stop, or unless we do a short stint after some rain. I want a fresh set of softs available, so I don't want to use both of these, so we'll use a scrub set and a new set and keep a set spare for the race. So that's the plan on both cars. Without further ado, let's start qualifying in Q3 and see where we end up. I'm thinking hopefully around about sort of 6th and 9th, which is roughly where we seem to be pace-wise today.
Radio check.
So first thing to look at is it going to rain?
It's good. Drink's good.
Look at that. There's going to be some rain.
Should be starting now.
Right. That means we take both of our drivers out, basically, ASAP, to get a lap in before the rain comes. And you can bet your bottom dollar that not many teams will do this, which means that if we set a lap when it's dry before the rain comes, we could be on pole, because the AI sucks at dealing with variable weather. I mean, it's already quite grey, so 4 minutes for us to get round this track and set a hot lap. And even if we set a hot lap with a little bit of rain towards the back end of the lap, it's still going to be quicker than people doing a full lap on a damp track, maybe even on inters. So getting this lap as early as possible is vital here. Absolutely vital. So that's what we're going to do. So this is the fantastic Silverstone racing track here. Currently going down the Wellington Straight in the new section, which I found out, I did a bit of reading, it was redesigned in 2010. Because what used to happen is the track used to go from here and go oh, you can't see because I'm covering it. Oh, apologies. Forget what I'm saying. Forget it. You can't see the map. I could move my camera, but it's too much effort. But yeah, basically the track was repurposed in 2010 to add a new stadium section. The start-finish line has been moved as well. Right, here comes Daniel Ricciardo. Coming down, just about to start his flying lap, so let's put him on the push order.
Okay, push.
Okay, and here we go.
Gotcha.
Right-hander, and onto the recently named
Use deploy.
Hamilton Straight,
Okay.
after our beloved 7-time world champion. And we're off with Norris too. So this is a Hamilton Straight onto Copse Corner and into the fast and sweeping Maggots-Beckett's complex. Oh, it's not the Maggots-Beckett's complex at all. I do apologise. That's going into the stadium section. This is the new repurposed section here. This is, to be honest with you, I mean it's been in play for 12 years now, 13 years, coming to 13 years. But I still do remember the old circuit. You used to go into a little bridge thing. It's quite cool. Anyway, here we go. Full speed ahead. Rain is coming in 2 minutes. We do have a few cars out, so that's quite promising. So this is Copse Corner, and then this is going into the Maggots and Beckett's complex here. This is really fun to drive on Formula 1 games. Getting this right fills you with quite a buzz, I must admit. Down the hangar straight here, and the final sector coming round for Daniel. Let's see where he goes. We're looking for a time about 1:32ish or something like that. I think we were getting 1:32s. So over the line, no 129s, apologies, 129.4, and Norris will probably go a couple of tenths quicker if he's on form. Ooh, not as quick as I was anticipating there.
Okay, keep looking after the tyre.
Okay, so we've got Norris just 2/100ths of a second ahead of Daniel. So either Norris was a bit slow there, or Ricciardo might have been a bit quicker than usual. He's upping his game, is Daniel, recently. Don't forget he was the one that won the last race, team orders and all that.
Some starting to report back.
And got third position, or got the podium in the race before that. So he, in Azerbaijan, so he is the man on the charge here, is Daniel, isn't he? On the charge for the team. Much to Norris's horror, probably. But anyway, the rain is coming, which means nobody's going to get a quicker time than what's currently on the board at the moment. Now, unfortunately, Verstappen and Leclerc managed to get a dry lap in, which puts us in 3rd and 4th. But I don't think anybody else is going to go any quicker than this. So we may well be finishing our qualifying in 3rd and 4th here. Some cars have really screwed up their timings, haven't they? Carlos Sainz here, for example. Catastrophic. Right, the rain isn't going to abate. There's no point of people going out, to be honest with you, unless you're like really far down, like Hamilton and Sainz is. But yeah, we're going to qualify in 3rd and 4th here.
Rain has completely stopped in pit lane. Okay.
So there we go, folks. Just the one Q3 run required here. But this is going to be even better for us because, as you can clearly see, Max Verstappen is taking a penalty. As is Lewis Hamilton, as is Valtteri Bottas. There was no incidents in practice that I was aware of, so these penalties may well be for new parts, new ERS or something maybe? Seems a bit early in the season for it, but nothing seemed to happen in practice that would mean that they were going to get a penalty, so I'm a bit confused with that one really. But anyway, so Max Verstappen is taking some kind of a penalty, so he's going to, the minimum he'll drop is 5 places, so We're definitely going to be up into second and third on the grid. So a front row start for Lando for the second race in a row. Daniel starting from the second row of the grid, just behind. So the AlphaTauri of Gasly doing pretty well in this race. Russell is the lead Mercedes right now. And then we've got Sergio Perez, and then we've got Ferrari of Sainz down there. So, yeah, a little bit of a shaken up grid. Max Verstappen will probably come through. But if we finish in this position, we're not going to be unhappy about that, that's for certain. Right, let's see what the weather forecast is saying.
Drivers are strapping themselves in, ready for race day.
We had a magnificent display from McLaren here in qualifying.
Magnificent.
And they'll certainly be hoping to put in a dominant performance here today. The work Red Bull did during qualifying was...
I don't think dominant is quite the word I would be looking for, but anyway, just a solid performance will be ample. So what is the rain saying? Oh, the rain is saying that it's going to be coming round about lap 30. Actually, no, round about there, to be honest. Interesting. So we need to get to around about lap 25, around about lap 26-ish before the rain comes, and then so I think it's a one-stop strategy. I think it's going to be either mediums or hards, and then straight onto inters. I think this is inter-based weather. I think this is inters weather. Yeah, I do think so, Ollie. I think you're right. The question will be though, how far can our tyres last? Let's bin this off for a second. So if we were to go onto a set of inters, for example, we need to get to lap round about what, 26-ish? Okay, the medium tyres just about make it. Just about. We could go onto a set of hards to make sure. We could then push the hard tyres, but this is the slowest tyre. But we do have track position. The weather forecast isn't 100% accurate. It's 80% accurate based on our upgraded weather centre. So we could go long on a set of hards, hoping for the rain to come. If we don't, or we could go mediums. Inters... See, this graph I don't think is quite an accurate representation. I think inters last longer than this. Inters last a long time. Mind you, it's a decently long lap, I suppose, but hard or medium tyres. Hard in case the rain is delayed. It's a possibility. I could split the strategies. Put one on hards and one on medium, just in case the rain comes earlier. I think I'm going to split them. Now, who's the lead car? Because the lead car should get the slightly more beneficial strategy. It makes sense to put the lead car on the quicker tyre, because there's no point of having the lead car on the slower tyre holding the guy up on the mediums. So I'm thinking we'll put Daniel on the hards, because he's behind, and we're going to put Lando on the mediums here. There we go. Let's put him on the mediums. Okay. Somewhat like that. So he can't really afford to push his tires. But of course, if there are safety cars that come into play and things of that nature, it's going to help the medium tyre runners conserve their tyres that little bit longer. So probably the better strategy. But Daniel's could well work if there's any delay to the rain or if there's no safety cars. We'll see. We'll see. If anybody puts soft tyres on, they're pretty much screwed. given the way the rain's going to fall. I can't see how soft tyre running is going to help anybody here, but the computer or the AI will do it, I can guarantee you. Right, so pushing for the first lap. Without further ado, let's see how it all pans out.
It's sunny and bright as the drivers line up on the grid.
For now.
And there's Lando Norris. After an impressive qualifying performance, they're starting today just behind pole. And behind them, it's Ricciardo. Starting in third place, they're in a really good position for this race. The teams are ready to go.
Ready and raring to go, Crofty. Ready and raring.
Hold on tight. It's the
There's another orange car on the front row here as the lights are on. 5 lights. And we're off and racing. Here we go. And we're on board with Lando Norris. He seems to have gotten a pretty decent start. Is he going to get ahead of the Ferrari to the first corner? Oh, I think he might have done. I think he might have done. Is he? Wheel to wheel here. As we come into the village corner, into the loop. Into the loop. And onto the Wellington Straight. This is still side by side, but he's got his nose in front. And he's ahead for now. Well done, sir. Well done. Norris has taken the lead. And Ricciardo is making a move on Gasly. Looks like Gasly got Ricciardo on the start, but Ricciardo is fought his way back past on those hard tyres. Making them work. Just about. It's position 3 and position 1. Not a bad start at all.
Back in the garage, the team absolutely loved it.
Oh! Oh no! No! Oh no! I didn't see it! Oh! You stupid moron! Ugh. Oh. He's beached it. How's that happened? Oh, disaster. I think he got overexcited. I don't think he's out of the race. I think he's going to have to wait until the entire grid come past. Oh, absolute terrible, terrible outcome here. Is he out of the race?
Let's take a closer look.
What happened?
Let's take a look at the McLaren.
Oh, he's just dropped it.
Look at that. They've spun their car.
Oh, it's the first time we've had a car spin off in the race the entire
The
season.
team are really disappointed with
Oh,
that.
this is
Let's
awful.
hope it doesn't-
Absolutely awful. It looks like he's got back on track here. He's got back on track, but this is a calamity. Absolute calamity. An uphill struggle for the rest of the race to even get any points from this part. Right, here we go. We're going to leave Lando to his own devices now. He's got a long, long race ahead of him, but it's not beyond the realms of possibility that we might get some points. Anyway, riding on board with Daniel Ricciardo instead, because that's as good as we've got left.
Okay, keep looking after the tyre.
So here we are, still on lap 1. I can't believe it. Disaster strikes. I didn't see. No, I saw somebody laugh. I saw you laughing, and I thought, what are you laughing at? And then obviously, yes, I saw the beach car. Okay, we're losing time to Leclerc pretty swiftly here. And there's no way we're going to be able to keep up with him and get in his DRS
We've
range.
just had a car run wide.
But we'll just keep going. We're playing it long. Let's have a look at the tyre strategies up front. We are the only cars in the leading 12 that is on the hard tyre. Everyone else is on a set of mediums. So that's fine. Norris is on mediums, of course, but he's at the back of the pack right now. I think he's caught up to the back of the pack, though. Yeah, he's caught up to the back of the pack pretty much. So, what can I say? What can I say? Total tragedy. Oh, what's happened now? I just looked at the chat and there's a car turned sideways in front of me. It's could have wiped us out.
Yellow's ahead, yellow flags.
The Tiffy.
Look at the replay.
The Tiffy's spinning right in front of us.
Watching Nicholas
It's a good job we didn't take a wing off in the process. Look at that. That could have been quite the calamity there.
just gone.
What is going on today? People losing their flipping marbles. Right, we're now behind Joe. We're not going to give him any pushing or anything like that. We're just going to allow him to pass naturally, hopefully with some DRS or something. It's going to be too much of a hassle to manage that from that far down. And Daniel's doing a pretty decent job of keeping the cars behind him, I suppose. Yeah, we've got a semi-decent buffer there. So we're just settling in for the long haul here.
DRS enabled.
Now this is where we might struggle to keep Gasly behind us, because if he gets DRS, we don't have DRS ourselves, and we're on the slower compound tyre, might prove to be slightly problematic, but we'll see. So far we've got a decent gap, so we're not overly concerned. The Ferrari of Leclerc is streaking off 2.6 seconds already, and we've only just started lap 3. Such as the pace of the Ferrari on softer compound tyres compared to us. But yeah, we've got I say we've got a decent gap, but that gap is coming down now. You get a dose of DRS down that straight apparently, the Wellington straight there. So now we'll ride on board with Gasly actually, just to see it from his perspective. But I think does he get DRS down that straight? No. It's the hangar straight, which is the next straight. I think we might get the he might get the DRS rather. Yeah, not down this straight either. Okay, we could be at risk. So definitely DRS down this straight. Yep, DRS is now open. He's gaining, and Ricciardo gaining and gaining, but he's too far back. Daniel, he's managing to do a pretty good job on those hard tyres. Pretty good. Norris stuck behind Guan Yu here, which is a bit of a irk. We could give him a little bit of DRS to help him on his merry way, I suppose, if we wanted to. It's less likely to work now, however, because we're back into the old pack again. So. Not quite got DRS in front of us. Let's just take a quick rain check. I'm going to give him a dose of deployment or overtaking for this straight here. Right, we're off. Come on Norris, come on. You've got DRS open, you've got a burst of overtake. Make it count, son. Pull out and make it count. Right, that's the last I'm doing to help you.
Okay, we don't want to lose too much time.
So okay, we've lost the position. He's got past us here. But we will hopefully manage to... Oh, we've got another car coming past. This is Russell. This is Russell coming up the inside. We're playing the long game, of course, so we're not overly concerned at the moment. We are playing... Oh, he's finally got him.
Let's see what happened there. Now just take a look at the McLaren.
Okay, up the inside there of what looks to be... Is this the final corner? I think it is. Almost going up on the grass there.
A bold move indeed. And with that, they've gained a position.
There we go. We got past. One position gained.
The team watching on,
Many more to go. Hamilton qualified in 10th because of the rain, and then got a grid, and then had a grid penalty on top. So that's why. So Ricciardo just clinging onto the back of Gasly, holding off Russell here, and Norris is now hunting down Bottas. It's fine. Canada. What happened to Norris? He spun off, Cham. He overtook Leclerc. He was in P1. He got off to a cracking start, and then poof, spun off into the gravel. Back of the pack. Game over. Disappointed.
Yep. This is my pace.
This is my pace. I know it is, Daniel. You're on hard tyres. Don't panic about it. Don't panic.
It's a race position gained for
We
Mercedes.
know what's going on here. This is all part of the grand plan. We're just waiting for that rain to come, and maybe hopefully if they don't conserve their tyres adequately, they're going to struggle towards the back end of the stint. We're going to be in a better position. So just maintain as you are, get the DRS when you can, drag yourself along with them. It's the best that we can hope for. Maybe they'll even knock each other off, who knows, these things happen. Yeah, this is all, it's about being, exactly, it's about playing the long game. Right, we should have DRS open. Yeah, we've got DRS open down this straight, which should help us defend against Carlos Sainz, who's in a Ferrari on faster tyres, so this will be a foregone conclusion at some point. Maybe sooner rather than later. There you go, look at that, just cruising up the inside there, and it's not a fight worth fighting. This is not our race. The Ferraris really aren't our race. Gasly and Russell are more on the same pace as us, technically speaking, in terms of our vehicles. So, if we expect the Ferraris to finish 1 and 2 eventually, which they should, it's the final podium place that we're fighting for here today, technically speaking. So, just keep in touch. Just keep in touch with them, Daniel. And Norris has got Bottas. Let's take a look at this. Look at this little squabble. As Norris is trying in earnest to make his way back through the pack after that horrendous mistake.
Big move for them and a race position gained.
Race position gained. Well done. Keep soldiering on.
The driver's team there cheering.
I'm not that excited about it. Don't bloody hell. Let's have a look at. Oh no, we've lost a position. He's got it back again. You see? Look at that. Premature celebrations there.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
It does matter, you moron.
A position gained for Alfa Romeo.
Why is Bottas that far down as well? To be honest with you, he's out of position too. I think it must have been a call. Oh, he had a grid penalty, didn't he? As well, he had a grid penalty. So yeah. Stuck behind Bottas and a bunch of slow-moving Williamses and bloody Aston Martins. Not the ideal place to find yourself, by any stretch of the imagination, but nonetheless, it's where we do find ourselves. So we're just really hoping to get past this and get a bit of open track and maybe have a bit of pushing available to us. He's got bloody wheels on the grass. And then we're going to hope to ace the weather strategy, the pit stop strategy for the weather, and hopefully that will help us to make up a bit of time as well. But we could really do with getting past this. The best thing to happen is for Bottas to get past, because he's got similar pace to us, so it'd be harder for us to pass Bottas than it would be to pass Vettel, for example. Ricciardo's still clinging on to the back of Sainz, 7/10, still within DRS. Perez in the Red Bull is now coming. Again, Perez is probably going to be too quick for us here. He qualified out of position, but he's got a faster car, he's got faster tyres, so again, this should be easy pickings for the Red Bull on us. Falling backwards, but it's to be expected, I suppose. As we approach once again, Beckett's. Come on, keep in touch, keep in touch. We're looking at just less than a second here as we now switch views. Still get the DRS down the straight here, but so do look at all the cars behind us. We've got Max Verstappen, we've got Ocon. Hard tyres, was it a good call? At the moment it's looking not like it, but let's just be patient. The race is not out. This is the slow phase, this is the patient phase, this is the wait and see what's going on phase. When we know exactly what's happening with the weather, then we can be more aggressive with the fuel, more aggressive with the tyres if necessary. But whilst we're still unsure of what's happening with the weather, we're just playing it long. Playing it long. Daniel can push on these hard tyres a little bit, if needs be, but we're going to push towards the back end of the stint, I think. We're now slightly out of DRS range. Norris still stuck in this little position. Not looking good. Not looking good at all. Whilst we're in this, whilst we're in a train of cars, there's no point in wasting any ERS. Some of the cars take some weird lines on this circuit for some strange reason. But anyway. So it's Ferrari 1-2. Sainz has finally made his way up to second place. Russell in third in the lead Mercedes. We've got Gasly doing really well in fourth position. Ricciardo holding up Perez a little bit, but for how long we wonder. On the hard tyres, just cruising around. Perez is sixth, Ocon seventh. Max Verstappen trying to make his way back through the field. His championship is slipping away. Every race there's always something going wrong with him. Magnussen struggling to keep up. Hamilton is making up some places now. Needs to get past Magnussen as quick as possible if he's to make any forward movements here. And Norris, it looks like Bottas has got past Vettel, which might make our job getting past Vettel a little bit easier. Okay, we finally lost fifth position to Perez, it looks like.
Place.
What was my... I said it was my favourite track. Which track? My favourite track? Probably Spa.
Nice job.
And McLaren with a great overtake.
Okay, so Norris has got past Vettel. Quite like Spa. Well, Canada's one of my favourites too. I like Canada. Trying to think of other F1 circuits that are on the calendar nowadays. One of my favourite tracks, which they no longer race at, which is a shame, is Nürburgring. Not the long version, but the GP version, which we raced at in 2020 when they were struggling for tracks due to due to the pandemic. But they raced there, and it was cool. It was cool to be racing back there. I really liked the Nürburgring. Least favourite track? Okay, Norris is past Bottas temporarily, and then he's not back past again. Least favourite circuit? To be honest with you, I'm not massively au fait with a lot of the newer circuits. I quite like Austria. It's a very short track, but the A1 ring, yeah, I quite like that. Least favourite circuit? As I say, some of the newer circuits I'm not completely au fait with them because I've never driven around them on a game. Tracks such as Zandvoort, for example. Tracks such as Singapore, for example. Monaco is a lovely track to drive on if you are doing a single lap, but in terms of racing around it, it's very, very dull and processional and not conducive to F1 racing anymore. What other tracks have we got? Such a massive calendar nowadays, and I can't remember half the circuits. Monza's quite a good track, quite like Monza. Saudi Arabia, Miami, just, I don't know, they just seem quite cookie-cutter street-type circuits that have been implemented onto the calendar, not really got a great deal of life about them. Another track which I quite liked, which they took off the calendar, was Malaysia. I quite liked the Malaysian Grand Prix, Sepang. Quite liked that track. Quite a couple of challenging little sections in it. But anyway, that's no longer on the calendar. Okay, so Norris is struggling to get past Albon here, which is rather depressing. Azerbaijan. Yeah, Azerbaijan is another street circuit, but I think Azerbaijan has got a little bit more about it than some of the other street circuits. It's got it's got a very long straight, so it's quite high speed. It's got some technical sections. Go through the medieval part of the city. It's quite good for the look of it, the view of it. I actually find that one of the better street circuits, Azerbaijan. Okay, so Norris has finally got past Albon, latching onto the back of Bottas as we now hunt down Lance Stroll. Yeah, I think on the back of this, I might get the latest F1 when it comes down in price, like it's in the Steam sale, and I might do something similar on that. I might do a couple of seasons on that for something different, so that I can showcase my actual driving skill or lack of skill to you all.
That's a good overtake from Alpine.
Okay, so Ocon has finally got past Ricciardo as he continues to fall backwards, but as we said, it's the long game. Nothing really that we can do about this than just be patient. Let's have a look at the tyre wear situation. His tyres should be in slightly better shape. I mean, to consider that he's got the hard tyres on, and we're not really pushing too much. The other drivers on the mediums aren't in that much of a worse shape than us, are they? And now, looks like Verstappen's just cruised past us as we continue to go backwards. But it's good to see that Daniel is not laying down without a fight here.
Good job, good job.
Good job indeed.
And McLaren with a great overtake.
So this is a little bit of side-by-side action with the current world champion here. It's going to be a losing battle, but it's nice that Ricciardo hasn't sort of laid down and had his belly tickled. Right, I think let's have a look at the tyre wear situation here with him. The rain's coming round about here. We're ahead of the curve, so we can start to push with him at some point. Now I'm thinking pushing with him now wouldn't be too bad, because hopefully we'll be able to keep in DRS range of Max for a little while. Meanwhile, Norris trying to get past Bottas and getting past Bottas, but for how long is he going to make it stick? Is he going to make it stick? Because look at that, it's quite difficult to make it stick round here apparently, as we try to push him onto the grass. Side by side with Valtteri Bottas, Lando Norris, 69% on the tyres.
Looks like that was a position gained.
As we gain on Stroll. Quite tempted. Oh, I think he's going to make it. I think he's just about going to make. No, he's not. He's not cut him off yet. Just cut him off, will you? Close the door. We've got him. And we've got DRS on Stroll to defend against Bottas, so this is good. Can we get Stroll in the same lap? As we go, went slightly wide there. Are we going to go to the inside? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Come on, put your foot down, make it stick, and get yourself moving. Let's put him on push. Give him a bit of engine mode to get past Stroll here.
This is really good.
There we go. We're past Stroll and up into P14. Happy days. There we go. Nicely done. So P14, 3 seconds behind Mick Schumacher. He's next on our hit list. Keep going, mister. Right. Ocon. riding back on board
Keep looking after the tyre.
with Daniel Ricciardo. P8, Hamilton closing in behind. We just want to make sure that we keep in the DRS range at this point now, so that we can get dragged along. And hopefully that'll help us not lose too much more time. But Leclerc, he's literally in no man's land right now. Look at that. All on his lonesome. Sainz, same. All on his lonesome. Russell got Perez for company. I expect Perez to pass him quite quickly and quite soon in the Red Bull. We've got Gasly having an absolute fantastic race right now. Verstappen is up to P6, bearing down on Gasly. Ocon is in P7 and Ricciardo just about clinging on to P8 on those harder tyres. Tyre wear's looking pretty decent-ish. And we're not struggling to keep up with Ocon at the moment, so this is quite promising. So we'll let him continue onwards. Norris now only 2 seconds behind Mick Schumacher, so gaining about a second a lap right now. So that's pretty good. So pleased with that.
Nicely done, Daniel. Nicely done.
But it would be unfortunate if the Ferrari ended up malfunctioning, wouldn't it just? Or if they were to completely, utterly screw up their strategy. How has Ricciardo passed Ocon?
Daniel Ricciardo involved here.
Looks like Ricciardo's hard tyres are beginning to come into their own. The drop-off of the mediums is higher than the drop-off of the hards. Not to mention that the hards last longer. So as you get towards the sort of middle of the tyre life of both of them, the delta between the two tyres comes down and down and down. So that's why the hards start to perform quite similarly to the mediums when we get to a certain point. That certain point might be round about now. Or it might just be that we just benefited from a bit of DRS and Ocon's going to cruise right back past us. Oof. He does, but we're not giving this fight. We're not giving this position up without a fight, though. So if you want to pass Ocon, you gotta work for it. You gotta work for it, buddy. We ain't letting this one go without a fight. Down the Hamilton straight. With Hamilton right behind us, in fact. As we turn this sharp right-hander, which is Village, actually, into Village, round the loop, and onto the Wellington straight as Ricciardo makes it stick. P7 is still there, but Ocon will get DRS down this straight because we were ahead at the detection point, but we've actually made our position stick here, so not too shabby at all. Not too shabby at all. Ricciardo holding his own now, holding his own up there. Good to see. Right, Norris is now within the DRS zone pretty much of Mick Schumacher. This should be a done deal in a couple of, well, in less than a couple of laps. This should be game, set and match, we're hoping. Just got to wait to the hangar straight, so we've got to get round here first. Onto the old, this is the old pit straight, the old start-finish line here. This is where we used to start pre-2010. There we go. This lovely sweeping section. And then onto the straight, and we should, mind you, might need to be a bit closer to make this work down the hangar straight, but we'll see. Here we go. DRS open. Probably a little bit too far back this lap, but next one we'll be ready to pounce. Yeah, 2010. Oh, we've got an incident in Sector 2. Temporary incident, serious incident. Nobody's dropping down the timing screens. It's Lance Stroll just dipping it wide. Not too much time lost there. Who hasn't done that in that corner? Who hasn't done that? We've all done it. As Ricciardo is still ahead of Ocon and keeping ahead of Ocon at this point. So yeah, definitely the hard tyres are now beginning to to sort of be on the same performance level as the mediums, in fact. So this is working out pretty well. 68% on the tyre. So look, the longevity of the tyre is now beginning to kick in. So this is good. We're going to push him towards the back end of the stint. Still going to wait a little bit longer yet. Maybe round about lap 20, we'll start to push him. We'll start to push him around about lap 20. But for now, just continue as you are. You're actually doing a very good job. You're actually pulling away from Ocon now. Those hard tyres looking like they are definitely beginning to work now. Work pretty well. Weather forecast still holding up at the moment. Still saying what it's saying. 2 minutes, another 5% chance. Yeah, still looking at round about like 26, 27 for that rain. Which is good for the hard tyre runner. Not so good for Norris. But we're not pushing his tyres because we can't afford to. We might have to even conserve these tyres at some point. But here we go. Still not passing down the Hanger straight on that lap. Despite how close we got. Can't afford to give him some engine mode though. Let's give him some engine mode. See if we can get... Mick Schumacher maybe down the next DRS zone. Maybe even get him here if we're feisty enough. Nah, probably not. Right, okay, so we've set up the manoeuvre. Set up the manoeuvre around this section. Once again, we're into Village. This is the stadium section, the newly repurposed stadium section. And let's go. Let's get on the power nice and early. I'll give you some bloody overtake mode as well. Come on. How much more do you need, son? Get yourself moving. There we go. That's looking good. That's looking good. Neutral, balanced, and we're ahead.
Big lifts.
And 5 seconds behind Magnussen. So a point-scoring finish is not beyond the realms of possibility for Lando Norris. He's making his way through the field. As we go back on board with Ricciardo, who is, as I said, pulling away from Ocon with these more durable tyres. It's looking promising. It's looking very promising indeed. We will still conserve, we will still maintain neutrality. Let's get that fuel saved up for later in the race. Let's get those tyres saved for when the weather forecast is more certain. And then we're going to give it big push. Big push. Anybody else on the hard tyres? Alonso. So Alonso should probably start to be catching Hamilton. We'll see. Yeah, look at that. We'll see how this gap from Alonso to Hamilton comes down, because that will also be a sign that the hard tyres are working better than the mediums. .6. We'll keep an eye on that. Hamilton is now finally past Ocon, so he'll be a little bit quicker than Ocon was, but he's still on the medium tyres too, so we'll see how he gains on Ricciardo, if at all. Yeah, I'm very happy with Ricciardo's pace right now. Very happy with his pace. Right, Norris, 4.7 to Magnussen, so he is gaining. We're not gaining massively quick, but we are gaining there, so kind of in a bit of a situation where we can probably put it to 2-speed. We've got a little bit of a situation where we're in a bit of open air for both cars now, so quite happy with our strategy. So we'll just put a little bit of double speed on there. Ricciardo is gaining on Gasly, I think, or maybe not. I thought we were. Gasly's on medium tyres as well, right? 57%. 2.93 seconds. When we start to push Ricciardo, we'll gain on Gasly. Norris 4 seconds behind Magnussen, 4.2, 55%. Let's have a look at the tyre strategy. Just about will last until the rain without needing to conserve too much. Hamilton isn't really making too many inroads into Ricciardo. Norris is slightly making some inroads into Magnussen. Is third in the Constructors realistic? Yes. It is very realistic, in fact. if we develop our car effectively, I think we could outdevelop the Mercedes simply because of the way this game works. I think it's definitely a possibility. At the moment, they obviously are scoring more points than us today, but there's still a long way to go in this race and some variable weather, so we'll see. But the Mercedes, technically speaking, is a quicker car still than us right now. But for how long? We've got a new front wing coming in 7 days' time, which will be the second front wing with Intense, so we will benefit from a big expertise bonus from the first series of Intense development of the first front wing that we did. So that's going to be a pretty decent jump in performance in just 7 days. The floor and the rear wing are going to be ready around about the same time, around about sort of 45 to 50 days time. They will be big jumps as well, coming roughly at the same time. So I think, yeah, definitely by the end of this season we'll probably be the third fastest car. I'll be shocked if we're not. I mean, other cars will be developing their cars as well, of course, but I do think that we'll be in a very strong position at the end of the season. And we'll have the whole off-season, the pre-season, to have a play around to see how that works out in terms of car research and stuff. We will also develop at least one upgrade for all of our other parts, such as the side pods, the chassis, and whatever the other part is. I always forget the other part. Chassis, side pods, wings, underfloor. What's the other part? The 6 parts. Side pods, chassis. What's the other part that I haven't developed yet? Come on, people! Suspension, sorry. There you go. Got it in the end. Suspension. Okay, we're in our pit window, but the rain isn't coming yet, so we're quite happy to just trundle along for now, as Ricciardo is still holding his own. Norris still gaining on Magnussen. So let's have a look at this rain. Around about lap 27, 4 laps time. I think we can start to push Ricciardo now. I think we can start to push Daniel. When I get the right strategy on, there we go. Because he's got quite a bit to go until we get to 30%. What do we reckon, folks? Is it time to go? Is it time to push? Is it time to push with Ricciardo? Do we reckon it's time to push him? Give him some juice. We can't push with Norris. We know that for certain because his tyres are barely going to last. So. The only thing we can push with Norris is probably the engine mode a little bit. Light rain coming in 4 minutes. 4 minutes. I think we can definitely push with Daniel now. Definitely push with Daniel. And I'm going to give him a bit of push on the old fuel as well, because I think the quicker we get to our pit window, the better. Get out closer to the cars in front on the right tyre. Then we're back in the game. So now we're keeping an eye on this gap to Gasly. Should start to come down now that we're giving him some push and giving him the ability to absolutely hammer the tyres now. I think we'll give Norris a bit of engine pushing too, because he's going to need it to get past Magnussen. But here we go, Ricciardo. Is he making inroads into Gasly? 2.8. He's making some inroads. Not at a hellaciously fast rate of knots, but he's making some inroads. And we're certainly pulling a little bit away from Hamilton, so yeah, okay, keep going, son, keep going. Right, Norris, 1.5, 1.6 behind Magnussen, just trying to slowly but surely eke into that DRS zone. The one good thing about having 2 cars slightly more spread out is there's no risk of double stacking in the pits here. Could you imagine if Lando Norris finishes ahead of Ricciardo after that incident? Stranger things have happened. Timings of safety cars and all that can have a massive difference. You know, if we come into the pits and with Ricciardo and then there's a safety car, Norris gets a cheaper stop. But so far, touch wood, so far so good. No incidents of note really, apart from our spin and the spin of of Latifi rather. Right, what's this looking like? 2.4. So it is coming down quite nicely. But if this will be the third race in a row that Ricciardo has finished ahead of Norris, clearly the momentum is with the Aussie, as he's now gaining on Gasly with his full pushing. Yeah, there you go. Keep it going, matey. Keep it going. Norris is now coming up to the back of Magnussen. Bear with me, folks. It's dinner time. Righty-ho, sorry about that. So today I'm having some, I can't remember what they were called, but I got some kind of instanty type noodly things from, well, they were from Tesco, but they're not Tesco's own brand, but they're like a packet noodle with a kind of a katsui kind of sauce thing. So there's some kind of chicken tenders chopped up, breadcrumb chicken tenders chopped up, mixed up with the noodles with some veg. Smells lovely, absolutely smells delicious, but tastes rather bland, if I'm being honest. I can't remember what the name of the noodles were called, but a little bit tasteless. So I've put extra salt on it, and I've put some cayenne pepper on to give it a bit of a kick. it's worked a little bit, but it's still. Considering how delicious it smells, it tastes nowhere near as good. Okay, the rain is coming, folks. The rain is coming. So this is where we're going to be able now to hopefully start to make a difference. So let's see where Ricciardo is. Ricciardo has passed the start-finish straight. So he's got no choice but to do another lap. And he's pushing as it is, so that's fine. And he's gaining on Gasly. Norris, on the other hand, is coming round to the pits. Now, would it be too early to put him on inters with this little rain? He's got less to lose from coming in early because he's already further back. So I'm going to risk this because he's got nothing to lose. The only thing we've got to lose is whether it's full wets or whether it's interweather. And if we look at the strategy, the rain isn't overly heavy. We've got a little bit of smattering, a light rain, a little bit of smattering towards this side. The track isn't getting massively wet. That doesn't look like full wets to me. I think we're going to risk it with Lando. We're going to undercut, bring him in early, put him on the inters now. He's got a bit of a gap behind him, so he can hopefully put him out into some clean air. Obviously going to push the rest of this lap now. Put him on the inters, and hopefully it might be a genius maneuver.
Yeah, I'm happy to box on here.
Looks like wet weather's coming. Wet. Why didn't we pit? Was I too late with the... Did I not confirm the pit strategy? Did I not confirm it? Or were we too late? Oh, for God's sake. Well, nobody else is pitting, so it's not a catastrophe, but I wanted to pit now with him, because now, when the time he comes around another lap, it's going to be far too late. God's sake. I think we were too late. I think we were too late with it. I think we were already too close to the pit line. Right, fine. Oh. Painful.
Okay, Lando, would like to box this lap. I'd like to box this lap, please.
Painful. That was going to be our trump card for Norris. Clearly not so much a trump card now, is it? I mean, the only saving grace is the track isn't sopping wet through. I mean, some of these cars might still not pit now, because look, he's come round, he hasn't pit. The Ferraris are coming round. Are they going to pit? They might start another lap, you know. I won't be surprised if they start another lap. We'll see. Is he coming in? No. No, staying out another lap, so we might not have missed his opportunity here, as Ricciardo is coming round down onto the hangar straight. But Sainz is pitting, so the Ferraris are splitting their strategy, hanging Leclerc out to dry, if you ask me, because clearly now is the perfect time to come in. Here comes Ricciardo. Norris absolutely pushing like a good one here, right on the back of Magnussen. DRS is open despite the fact that it's raining. Trying to get into the pits before Magnussen here. Ricciardo is now out on inters. What are the other people put on? Okay, Sainz has put inters on. It's looking like it's inters weather here. I think we're good. I think we're good. We've got some people still going around on dry tyres at the moment, which is really detrimental to their strategies, if you ask me. But anyway, now we're getting the shake-up. Where are we going to come out in the shake-up of all of this? Here's Lando putting on the inters. It's going to be held for cars. There we go. Found a gap. Out he comes. Is he going to leapfrog Magnussen? Not quite. But we'll get him. We'll get him in the race. It's not a problem. So we're pushing Daniel. So let's have a look.
Stroll has pitted. Stroll has pitted.
For fuck's sake, sorry. What? Pardon my language. I thought I thought I was pressing the mute button. I pressed the wrong shortcut key. Sorry about that. Oh dear. Right. Anyway, I was trying to look at the strategy for the Inter tyre, because clearly the Inters are not going to last till the end of the race. So I'm kind of thinking that we might have to conserve on the Inter tyre to get them to the end, rather than do 2 interstints. So again, I think we need to play the long game here with both cars, simply because the tyre wear situation isn't marvellous. Anyway, let's focus on Ricciardo, because we've got cars ahead of us that haven't pitted for Inter tyres yet. You've got Ocon and Russell, who have pitted a little bit too late, if you ask me. So we might get the leapfrog on them.
Just be careful with this tyre.
So we've got to wait till the shake-up has finished here to see exactly what's going on. But yeah. Coming round onto the pit straight, full pace. We've got cars coming out of the pits. We're not going to get Russell, but we're going to get Ocon.
Okay, mate, good job.
So up into P6. No, we have got Russell. Up into P5. We are the best of the rest when you discount the Red Bulls and the Ferraris.
Tsunoda also pitted.
Good job. Good job indeed. And Norris is in P13. We've got 2 people in the pits at the moment as well here. So Norris, is he going to leapfrog Tsunoda? No. So after the shake-up, Ricciardo is benefited. Norris is pretty much as he was, really. Not really making up too much. But now we've got to worry about, are we going to get these tyres to the end, really? That's the biggest issue at this point, is the state of the tyres. Hoping that they're going to get us to the end. We might have to start conserving with them at some point. But as things currently stand, we're in P5 and P13. I'm going to mute myself so I can eat my dinner, and we'll see what pans out in this middle section of the race.
been a lock-up.
Press overtake.
Confirm.
Overtake available if needed.
Yeah, confirm.
Nice job.
And McLaren with a great overtake.
Okay. Well, I have to admit that when she started eating those noodles and getting more of a mouthful of them, they're actually not too bad. For the actual packet of noodles themselves, with all the flavouring and the sauce, I think it was something like 180 calories or something. Not a lot of calories. And when you put a bit of chicken in it and some veg, you've got quite a high protein, relatively healthy-ish little meal there. It's just unfortunate that I didn't use it wasn't proper chicken breast. It was that kind of breaded chicken, so there's a few more calories in it than just plain old chicken breast. But nonetheless, it actually worked out more tasty than it first appeared after just a single mouthful. Anyway, we're on lap 35 of 52. We're in P5 and we're in P12. The highest we can hope for Norris is P11. And then P10 if somebody ahead of us has a major incident. And yeah. We will be finishing 5th and 11th, I think, but we'll see. Norris has been given the push order to try and make up the placings here. No point of giving Ricciardo the push order because he's not really going to do anything. He's not going to catch Perez, so we could use it in defence against Russell in the future if we need to. As things currently stand, we're looking pretty decent with the tyres. Us staying on neutral on the tyres at this rate should see us to the end, actually, so that's actually pretty decent as well. So, I mean, ultimately, I think 2-speed to the end of the race, unless something major happens, is probably not unreasonable. We might take it down to 1-speed just so that until we get past Sonoda, actually. We'll orchestrate a move past Sonoda at some point, and then we'll put it up into back to 2-speed. Ricciardo has got Russell behind him, actually, and Russell is now closed that 1.5 seconds. So we're going to give Ricciardo a little bit of pushing on the engine and a little bit of deployment on the ERS. He's got a full ERS battery here, so we're just going to get that gap out to Russell to hopefully back towards sort of 1.5 to 2 seconds here. We don't want Russell passing us now, do we? Of course we don't. So give Ricciardo a little short burst of speed here just to help out. There we go. Gap is back up to 1.5. Neutral on the ERS, and we'll just keep the pushing on the engine for now because he's got plenty of fuel to play with. So let's just put Russell in his place. However, this little situation, we've got to get Norris past Sonoda here. We can actually afford to push the tyres a little bit, as we've seen, but I don't think we need to. I just think we need to be patient, get a bit closer to him, and then we'll give Norris a bit of deployment down. I think this hanger straight on this lap is probably a little bit far-fetched, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. Let's go full speed, full engine mode, through Maggots and Beckett's, and then we'll see where we stand. I think we're probably we're still too far back, so we'll just be patient and get that little bit closer. Yeah, we're never going to pass him from this distance back, so we'll get a little bit closer. We will get Sonoda eventually. And Russell's now 2 seconds behind, so we'll just go back to balanced. The benefits of going to balanced rather than, even though we've got excess of fuel, rather than pushing, is engine conservation. Clearly, the less we push the engine, the longer it will last. So, you know, if we were like in a situation, say like I don't know, like Verstappen, like Leclerc, or take Verstappen, who's got a nice big 7-second gap behind him and a big gap ahead of him, I'd be putting my engine right down to conserve mode at this point, more than likely. But I think most of the cars are probably going to get to the end. Maybe with the exception of, like, I don't know, Perez is looking a little bit shady. Clearly the wet tyre was the wrong tyre. Don't know what the Alfa Romeo team were thinking. Clearly the opposite of everybody else on the grid. But yeah, Perez might struggle to get to the end, but we don't know what other people are doing in terms of conservation, in terms of pushing. He might do a bit of conservation towards the end of the race and be fine. Right, we're back here again. Maggots, Beckett's back onto the hangar straight. We're not much closer. We're a little bit closer, not too much. So, and we're starting to get down on the fuel here. So we're gonna have to make our move pretty soonish. Otherwise, we're going to run out of push mode on the engine here. But we do seem to be closer. Obviously, the effect of the concertina effect as you're braking and under heavy braking slightly gives a bit of an illusion that we're closer than we perhaps are. But we are now down to half a second, whereas before we were 0.7. So we're just about getting there. I might try and give a little bit of overtake down this straight now, actually. Don't intend to pass him here, but I intend to get closer for the straight a little bit later in the lap. So we're now down to 0.3, so once we give him a bit of extra push as we get onto the pit straight here. There we go, nice and close now. Coming up to lap a car soon. We're pulling out of the dirty air, but don't expect to pass here. But we're definitely now close. So overtake mode, ready for the hangar straight.
Use overtake there.
This is our best chance.
Go on, Pat.
We're running out of ERS. We're running out of excess fuel. Now has got to be the time. Right as we're coming up to a back marker, in fact. And we're not making much of an indentation here, are we? Not as much as I anticipated. So, as oh, for heaven's sake, Lando, come on, man. This is proving trickier than I first thought it would be. We cruised past Magnussen, but Sonoda is proving to be a bit more of a challenge, fortunately. Right, Ricciardo, 1.7 to Russell. Still managing that gap quite nicely. Yep, still putting a tyre life there for both cars, really. Lando's a bit less on the tyres. He came in, I don't know why actually, to be fair. Oh, we're closer here. Let's try again.
You can use overtake.
Overtake mode here.
Yeah, copper.
Coming up the old pit straight. Coming up the old pit straight. We're out of ERS though. We're completely devoid of ERS. Which isn't going to help us, unfortunately. Damn. If we had ERS down this straight, we might have had a bit of a chance, but we're devoid of the stuff, unfortunately. Okay. I'm not going to micromanage harvesting and all that kind of jazz. Instead, we'll focus on making sure that Ricciardo finishes ahead of Russell. Which should be definitely doable. Look at this good old British weather, eh? Terrible. It's supposed to be summer. Salah scored for Liverpool against Everton. Good. Everton need to lose. because clearly Leeds are a point ahead with it, and Everton have got a game in hand, which is today's game. So if Everton win, that's Leeds in the relegation zone. .4 to Russell, just making sure that we manage this gap. Norris isn't going to get past Sonoda, I don't think, so we'll call that a done deal at this point. So just this situation to manage. The rain isn't going to change. It's not going to get dry. We're kind of comfortable here. So I'm quite tempted to actually use a bit of force speed at this point, as long as we don't get too bogged down here. Just keep an eye on Daniel Ricciardo, and if we get any sniff of a yellow flag or any kind of situation that requires urgent attention, the game actually automatically goes down to 1 speed, to be fair, so it's not too much of a problem. Ricciardo still got Russell behind him. We're going to give Ricciardo a little bit more of the push on the engine, a little bit of the deployment, just to give that little bit of a pace.
Sounds like someone's locked up.
Differential, so that we can make sure that we maintain that distance back up to about 2 seconds if we can, which it's now back at 2 seconds, you see. So we are lapping cars very shortly, depending on where we lap them and where Russell laps them. That could harm or hinder us. So when we get to the back of Vettel, we might just take it down to regular speed to see how this situation plays out. But a nice comfortable 2.2 second gap. Oh, and it looks like Lando Norris has locked up. Oh, there you go. Look at that. Looks like went off the track again.
Now just take a look at the McLaren. It's a lock-up, and that could be costly.
Dear, dear, dear. Bad day in the office for Mr. Norris. A race to clearly forget. Conserve,
Big lifts.
harvest. Just conserve everything. Your race is done, sir. This is going to harm. This is actually going to harm our sponsorship, because I went for a race streak of both cars finishing in the top 10 for 3 races in a row, because we've regularly been doing that. And the one time that I put the sponsorship to say that, we're going to lose 600 grand because of your shenanigans, Lando. Just saying. Anyway. Say hello to Daniel Ricciardo. 3rd race in a row outperforming Norris. Suddenly has found some pace. Maybe heard on the grapevine we were looking for a replacement. So I'll show you when we get out of the race, but I am scouting 2 potential drivers for next season to replace Daniel. Can you guess who the 2 drivers might be? Well, I've told you who one of the drivers is already. Alright, so we're on that 46 of 52. Only 6 laps to go. Hopefully there's no incidents at this point. Unless it's to a car ahead of us. But Carlos Sainz clearly benefiting from the more favourable Ferrari strategy. I'm sure if you're in Leclerc shoes, you'll be spitting feathers right now, given that the fact that you were held out on a clearly wet track for a lap longer than necessary. Verstappen. Let's just take that on balance, sorry. Verstappen way behind the Ferraris today. The Ferraris clearly have the pace. I know a bit of variable weather thrown in as well, but nonetheless, still it's a massive gap to find yourself behind the Ferrari against Russell. I just want to make sure that we get past the back markers relatively safely before we go back to 4 speed again. I mean, we've got a 2-second gap, so that's going to help us out a little bit. It all depends where we pass the back markers. If we pass the back markers nicely on a straight, or they let us pass quite easily like that and don't hold us up too much, then we're all right. But we've lost a little bit of time there, but of course Russell has to pass the same car, and hopefully we'll pass the car on a place that's going to just slow him down a little bit. You know, right in a nice little slow corner or something. Because we've lost about 4/10 during that overtake there, so and we've got one more car to pass. We've got it looks like, who is that? Mick Schumacher. Okay, so Russell is behind the back marker, and there you go.
It's 5 laps.
He got a little bit snagged, which is good. We like a bit of that, and on the straight as well, so he'll lose a bit of momentum on the straight possibly. So that's good. That's good for us. As we now approach Mick Schumacher. A little bit of a ways to go, to be fair. We're not quite gaining on these back markers as quickly as we might ordinarily.
And recharge off.
Yep, everyone making it to the end on the Inter's tyre, which is fine. I did mention that the Inter's tyre do last longer than the graph says. That's one thing I have noticed. Same with the wets as well. Right, we're going to give Daniel a little bit more pushing again on the engine, just to make sure that we get past the back marker nice and quickly, and that we try to maintain that 2-second gap to Russell as we tick down 3 laps to go. It's taking us a bit of a while to get up to this back marker, isn't it? Russell's... Oh, there we go. Now we get past. Blue flags waving furiously. Get out of the way! For those of you that watch modern day F1, can you imagine what it was like back in the day when blue flags were never a thing? Drivers literally had to fight past back markers. It was a nightmare. Literally, you'd have to fight. I've seen races where they literally had to overtake back markers like they were overtaking a car for position. And what's even more crazy, I urge you all to watch a clip of this. Google it, YouTube it, whatever after this. Watch a video of a car making a pit stop before a pit lane speed limit was a thing. They used to blast down the pit lane, crew and all the bits that are in the pit lane at full speed. Watching a car bombing down the pit lane with people literally meters away doing 150, 160 mile an hour is insane. I mean, I know sometimes health and safety can go too far nowadays, but I mean, come on. At what point do people not realise that that was a stupid thing to do? far too late, if you ask me. But anyway, it is just crazy. Did anyone ever get hit? To be honest with you, I don't know. I'm surprised if they didn't. Albon's coming in for another pit stop here. One thing I do miss is refueling. I know obviously they stopped refueling for health and safety as well, but I quite liked having not only different tyre strategies, but different fuel strategies as well. It really mixed it up a bit. Okay, so we're on the final lap. We might as well watch it in real time here. So we are still 5th and 12th. Norris clearly has been told to turn everything down, conserve the engine and stuff. Daniel couldn't quite have so much luxury because he's had Russell on the back of him within 2 seconds for most of the second stint of the race on the inters. So he's had to maintain a degree of pushing to keep ahead. But ahead he has kept. It's right on board with our lead driver for the 3rd race in a row. He is definitely on
This is the last lap.
roll. So final lap with Mr. Ricciardo as we turn once again for a final time into the sharp right village corner. The long sweeping left loop in the new stadium section and onto the Wellington straight. Power down, full speed. No DRS now. 14 seconds behind Perez, 1.7 ahead of Russell. He's going to finish really as high as we could have hoped. We ain't anywhere near the performance of the Ferraris and the Red Bulls. And there's an incident on Sector 2. It's not Norris, is it? Who is it?
There are yellow flags on the main.
Sainz has spun the race leader.
Understood.
Ooh, he's just about managed to finish ahead of his teammate there after spinning on the final lap. Would you credit that? Anyway, we're coming now. Maggots, Beckett's.
And Sainz crosses the line first. He's taken the win.
Lando's been lapped apparently, so he's finished the race. Ricciardo now powering down for the final time here. 90-degree right. Past the pit entry. Last couple of corners. Sure, whatever it was called, Luffield or something. But there we go. And round the final corner. And across the line.
Checkered flag.
5th position.
Nice one, guys.
A good finish. A good finish.
Well done, buddy.
A good finish. I think this is where we expect to finish as the best result when there's no major issues, no major dramas. We expect the Red Bulls and the Ferraris to finish ahead of us. So as long as we're best of the rest, that's as best we can hope for, right? So a positive result. I mean, the only question that we would ever have had is where would Norris have finished had he not spun? We were in first position when we spun. I don't expect him to have held off Leclerc for much longer, to be honest with you. But where could he have finished? We will never know. It's his first disappointing race, really. As I said, it's the first time we've had either driver spin in a race.
Stellar work from Daniel Ricciardo.
We got an achievement, which I didn't see what it was, but we got an achievement for that. Maybe it's for 3 podiums in a row. I don't know. But Daniel Ricciardo, not three podiums. We didn't finish on the podium, did we? We got an achievement anyway. So here's the final classifications. We got Sainz and Leclerc for a Ferrari 1-2, and the fastest lap for Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz will have been pooping his little panties, spinning off on the final lap there. Thankfully for him, his spin wasn't too bad that he could get back on the track and finish just a mere 0.9 of a second ahead of his teammate. Close call there. Max Verstappen further back, 17 seconds behind Charles Leclerc there. Sergio Perez in 4th. And then Daniel Ricciardo in 5th. Lewis Hamilton finally finishing in 8th position after a poor qualifying and a grid penalty on top. Day to forget there for the British driver in his home race. So the driver standings look a little bit like this. Daniel Ricciardo has actually passed Lando Norris now in the driver's standings. He's 5 points clear. Could you imagine that at the start of the season when every race he was getting out-qualified and out-raced? But the past 3 races he's picked up a massive haul of points. The momentum is clearly with him. Maybe the confidence is with him too. Maybe the new upgrades are helping him more than Norris in terms of the feel of the car. Who knows? But he has had an absolutely fantastic 3 races and bringing back some healthy points for the team as well. Charles Leclerc still top, but only 3 points ahead of Carlos Sainz now. It's very tight at the top between the 2 Ferrari boys. I expect fireworks at some point as they squabble over the driver's title. Max Verstappen has got a lot of work to do. It'll be I say it's not quite a miracle, but it'll be a damn good effort for him to win the championship from here. He's made a few little mistakes here and there throughout the season, which have cost him dear. And so, yeah, a little bit of work to do, but I don't think he's going to do it. I hope he doesn't, anyway. And Lewis Hamilton in 4th position. Quite some way back, the Mercedes team clearly struggling. Not to mention, of course, the fact that the Mercedes car is going to be unveiled on Wednesday. So I'm looking forward to that. I just sincerely hope it's going to be an improvement on last season's rendition. But apparently, I've been reading today that they have found double-digit gains in their engine performance. Because although there's an engine freeze on developing performance on your engines, you can develop reliability. So if you improve your engine's reliability, it means that in the race and in qualifying, because you've got to use the same engine mode, I think, you can turn up the engine to a higher setting because you found more reliability. So that's how you can make performance gains on your engine through the reliability clause. So that sounds pretty decent, and they're sticking with their side podless design. So hopefully they've learned a lot about that design last season that they can make inroads this season. They are still adamant that there's a lot of performance to be gained from having no side pods in this current car. Technical regulations. The simulations last season didn't account for the porpoising, and if everything ran as it did in their simulations, then their car would have been much quicker, apparently. But we'll see. We'll see what happens when they get to the first test at Bahrain in 2 weeks' time. Anyway, so that is the drivers. Constructors, Ferrari way out ahead. Red Bull kind of stuck in second. McLaren still clinging on to third because of Ricciardo's high finish. We actually only lost 2 points to the Mercedes boys in that race, and we've classed that as a bad race. So that's good. If we're still only just missing out on outscoring the Mercedes on a bad race and outscoring them heavily in our good races, finishing third position is not out of the question. And there you can see the rest of the standings further down. Development points? No. I put a development point into Lando's defending as per the random number generator before the session, and there we go. We have lost some sponsorship because of the actual one of the performance guarantees. As I said, we didn't finish both cars in the top 10, so a little bit of a loss there. I thought it was 600 grand, but only 70, so that's not too bad actually. We'd have lost more if the drivers would have reached their sponsorship bonus, both of them. So we've actually lost less money than if Lando had finished higher, to be honest. So double-edged sword there. Right, next race is the Red Bull Ring, a race that I don't actually dislike too much. I don't mind this track, actually. I've only ever been to a driving simulator place once. So in Halifax, in West Yorkshire, there was this driving simulator centre. So you can sit in a proper setup, so proper racing seat and pedals and a steering wheel in a kind of self-contained little pod. So I took me and two of my mates down to this driving experience, and there was, I think it was about 8 to 10 drivers overall for a 45-minute racing experience. And it was quite cool, and the track that we were racing on was Austria. So, and clearly I knew Austria because I do a lot of F1, well, not as much as I used to do, but still race F1 games occasionally. So as I was cruising round the A1 ring, or the Red Bull ring as it's called now, leaving them all in my dust, I felt quite smug. Because my mate is, we don't go-karting anymore, but he is lighter than me by about 3 stone. So when we used to go go-karting, he used to be faster than me. Clearly, 3 stone in a go-kart is a massive hindrance. So clearly you're going to be faster. So then when we were racing in the simulator, I said, weight's not going to make a difference now, is it? Anyway, so I was quite smug when I beat. Anyway, so we're just going to finish off today's stream. I mean, we've got plenty of time left, to be fair. But I will call the stream after we finish the admin here, simply because I have got some things to do for my trip to Nottingham. But let's have a look at the inbox, just the usual debrief. Still happy that we're exceeding expectations. So what did I want to show you? Yes, drivers, scouting drivers. The 2 drivers that I'm scouting potentially to replace Daniel Ricciardo next season are Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc. Max Verstappen, never would have him in any of my cars, thank you very much. So Lewis Hamilton clearly would have him in my car quite happily, and I think it'd be quite a nice little homecoming for him to finish his career in the car that he started his career in the McLaren. The only issue is he's not open to negotiation, not interested. But you never know, that might change at the end of the season. If we finish ahead of the Mercedes team, who knows, maybe he'll see the light and welcome us with open arms. Or maybe he might retire, who knows. But anyway, so I would be absolutely over the moon if we could put Lewis Hamilton in our car for next season, because that would make quite the difference. You know, having him extracting the maximum performance out of our car, especially if our car is closer to the front of the grid, could be the difference between winning a championship and not, to be quite honest with you. But if we can't get him, then my next choice as being one of the top drivers that I actually don't dislike is Charles Leclerc. 89, he's only 24, so he's probably got a little bit more developing to do, and he's open to negotiation. And we've got quite a bit of money left in the pot as well for the cost cap, so spending a decent amount on a contract for him to replace Daniel would be viable. So I think having Charles in the seat alongside Lando would be pretty cool. I think they get on quite well. I think they do a lot of online racing or have done together. Sort of Leclerc, Verstappen, Russell and Norris, especially during lockdown, were all doing kind of the online racing together. So that's quite cool. So we'll see. But I do want one of these 2 drivers in my car for next season, and I think we'll be able to get Leclerc if we open negotiations, but Lewis Hamilton a little bit more hit and miss. But we're waiting for the scouting to finish, which is going to be 16 days, so we'll see what the full scout report says on that one. 33 million left to spend. The cars, we've got the cars developing that we need to, so just a quick double check on the current project. So as I said, rear wing and floor coming together round about the same time. That's the 3rd rendition. The 3rd rendition of the front wing, which is going to hopefully benefit from some good expertise boosts, is coming in flipping 2 days' time. So let's get it stuck on the car now. Austria is in 4 days. That was bloody quick. How did that happen? 4 flipping days. There we go. Front wing. Bada bing, bada boom. Bing bang bish. Right, so before we put the wing... So as I said before, on the grid, our car for cornering, 7th, 7th, 5th, 7th, 7th, 5th. Let's put this new wing on and see what it does. Front wing number 3, manufacture. Rushed would mean that we won't get both of them for the race, so we have to do emergency, which costs money. We've got enough cost cap about it, it's fine. So we get all 4 today, put on the car. Boom shakalaka. Both wings installed. Now let's see the performance of the car. Did that make much of a difference? What was the numbers? Have we gone down in medium speed cornering? I thought we were 5th, 5th, 7th. We're now 5th, 7th, 5th. Interesting. 5th, 7th, 5th. Oh, well, that's not quite as big a boost as I was actually hoping for, if I was to be perfectly frank with you. Let me just double check that again. Okay, 7th, 7th, 5th. Oh, it was 7th, 7th, 5th. It's now 5th, 7th, 5th. So we've gained in low speed cornering. We've stayed in the other 2. So we've improved our low speed cornering. That's what I'm seeing here. Bear with me. Let's just double check again. 7th, 7th, 5th. Yeah, 7th, 7th, 5th. 5th, 7th, 5th. So we've improved low speed cornering and low speed dirty air cornering. Medium and high speed have stayed pretty much the same. Okay, that's cool. So we have improved. Top speed, not doing too much, unfortunately. Right, so we've got our 3rd rendition of our front wing, which means that what we are going to do now is create another front wing, the final front wing for the season. And what we're going to do is we're going to do 1.7. We're going to do 22, 23, and we're going to do continue. We're going to focus now, I think, on, let me see this now, bear with me folks. So we're going to focus this final one on all the speed cornering, brake cooling, keep on neutral. In fact, we could just knock it down a touch as usual. Airflow, keep that in the middle. Airflow front, keep that in the middle. And that will be our focus for our final front wing of the season. No more front wings after this. So this will also get an expertise boost due to the fact that the previous wing was done with intents. But what we're going to do to finish this off, to ensure that we've got time to build other parts for the season and conduct our research, is we're going to finish off this front wing on rushed and get it in as quickly as possible. So we've got 4 engineers, we'll go down to 3, 37 days, 34, not much of a difference. So we're going to rush this, which makes it a little bit more expensive, but obviously quicker by a decent margin. So only 37 days for this final front wing that we're going to design. We'll also do a similar thing for the chassis, not the chassis, the floor and the rear wing as well when they're done next. And then hopefully we'll be done with the wings and the floor, and we'll just finish off with the other parts of the car, and finally with the research as well. So 1.3 million on another final front wing, which will also be ready at the kind of same time as the others. So within the space of less than 10 days, we're talking 8 days between all of them, we're going to have a new front wing, a new floor and a new rear wing, all roughly at the same time. So that's going to be a right big boost to performance whenever that comes into effect. So that'll be quite fun to see. But yeah, that's it for our design at the moment for the next month. Cracking on quite nicely. So I think that's pretty much it, really. There's a development point for our technical chief. So I'm not going to do a random select for this guy because I want to make sure that the underfloor is the one that we focus on there, because that's the one that gives us the biggest performance boosts. Technical chief, head of aerodynamics, also going to look at something for him. And I think I said that high speed downforce was the most prevalent of all of the traits on the track that gives us the most performance boost, so we'll put that there for him. Engineers, nothing doing there. Quite happy with the size of the staff. The Austrian Grand Prix is upon us. Let's finish off by going to the race weekend, and here we are. Austria is here. So yeah, we're not going to do the Austrian Grand Prix now. We'll do that another time. But yes, things are looking pretty much bloody marvellous, if you ask me, for the McLaren team compared to where they were at the start of the season. Potter has whipped them into shape. The drivers are having a whale of a time. And who would have predicted that just coming up to the halfway point of the season, we would be ahead of the Mercedes team? So, I mean, we don't really have a right lot to be grumbling about. But yeah, next race Austria, and after that we move on to further European races and some classic circuits as well, which is always nice. So we'll have some fun and see where we end up. This is actually round 11, which is the precise halfway point after this. So yeah, half the season down, half the season to go. But anyway, thank you all for watching this evening. Bit of a shorter stream, but got things to do to prepare for tomorrow. There will be no video tomorrow, but I will be back after my escapades on Wednesday. But I am playing football Wednesday, so I can't stream on Wednesday either. So the next video that you're going to see will be on Thursday. So a couple of days break. But yeah. Enjoy the rest of your week, folks, and I'll get something uploaded for you guys on Thursday, whether it's CK2, whether it's this, or whether it's a new series. I'm yet to decide. I'll have a think whilst I'm in Nottingham in a hotel room with nothing better to do. I'll take a notepad and pen with me and maybe plan and prepare my next series, who knows. But anyway, enjoy the rest of your week, folks. Thanks for watching as always, and until next time, Potter and his team. We'll see you soon.